Arcane is one of the best shows I've seen in the past decade. It features a story of poverty, corruption, family, and war in a world of stark opposites. It is nothing short of a masterpiece, and even after rewatching it, the only criticism I have is that we don't have more of it. I've seen many video essays on Arcane and what exactly made its show so incredible. Most people rightfully mention how good the characters are, but in this video I want to take a few moments to appreciate the world building that the show does from the very first scene. The world that we see so vividly through the eyes and stories of each character. A good world sets the stage for great storytelling, and Arcane is a stellar example for that. This video includes spoilers for the show, so if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend that you stop this video and go do that instead. The show begins with a powerful scene from the past, a war between the Undercity and Piltover's enforcers. This is the conflict that simmers throughout the entire series. Zaun's revolt ended badly and many have died in this war, including the families of Vi and Powder, a pair of sisters that the series follows. This conflict helps us establish two important factions in the series, the first, Vander's gang, and the second, the Piltover enforcers. In the conflict, the enforcers are seen as these inhuman monsters. Their face masks completely disconnect any trace of empathy. Vander fights the enforcers, and when he sees the two stranded girls facing their dead parents in the aftermath, he has to take them in. Initially, Vander sought the war to enact change, to get independence for Zaun, but after experiencing the price of war firsthand, he rejects it. Years later, Vander and his crew kept the peace in the Undercity. He would be their guardian from authorities, but also made sure they knew their place. In many ways, Vander accepted that the city cannot be changed. He spoke against war and avoided any action that could incite the enforcers. As time passed, however, he encountered more and more resistance from people who grew tired of Piltover's inequality. People that maintained the same vision that he himself gave up on. Those people eventually joined the second prominent faction of the Undercity, a radical group of thugs controlled by one mastermind, Silco. Once an ally of Vander, Silco fought the same wars for independence, but never stopped to question the price. Time and time again, Silco is portrayed as a man who will stop at nothing to achieve the power he needs to fulfill his vision.
I'd like to let you in on a very important secret I learned when I was about your age, boy. You see, power, real power, doesn't come to those who are born strongest, or fastest, or smartest. No, it comes to those who will do anything to achieve it.
Surely this madness is just villain talk, right? Well,
don't you think we've pushed them hard enough?
Do whatever it takes. Turn the Undercity upside down if you have to. Just find them.
Not too different. The Council of Piltover is a group of politicians that governs the city. They want to maintain the immaculate, pristine image that is the City of Progress. They are somewhat disconnected from the hardships of Zaun, and are willing to do whatever it takes to save face and maintain their status. To that end, the Council uses the enforcers to pacify any resistance, to make the problems go away, so that the topsiders, or the people close to them, feel safe. I find it incredible that both Silco and the Council will do whatever it takes to achieve their goals, and in both cases it is the people of Zaun who suffer the consequences. Their conflict would burn the entire city if it wasn't for Vander and his agreement with Sheriff Grayson. Once Silco removes those from the equation, war is only a matter of time. In just 3 episodes, Arcane was able to build a very nuanced power dynamic between the ruling factions. They let us understand the world with little to no exposition. All of the relationships are easily inferred by what's happening to the characters, and I can't help but point out how wonderful and rare this is. The creators of Arcane mastered the art of show, don't tell. They simply let the world play out as it would, and we get to put the pieces together. When the kids break into Jace's lab, we get a glimpse of the Hex Crystal's potential. After his laboratory caused an explosion to destroy the building, Jace was called to answer some questions. When he tells the council that he tried to fuse science and magic, they are shocked. Apparently, it is a violation of the ethos to use magic of any kind, a punishment that would normally call for exile. This piece of law is quite interesting, as it shows us something deeper about the culture of Piltover. Magic is feared, probably due to some disaster that occurred many years ago. We only catch a glimpse from Heimerdinger's memories to what may have transpired, but it's enough to understand it was an utter catastrophe, something that the people who built Piltover wished to avoid. But that was 200 years ago, and most people don't live that long. It's been long enough for some to be curious about the mastery of magic through technology, which is why Jace gets support from Victor and Mel. When their experiment succeeds, even Heimerdinger accepts that the potential is worth the risk. It's about this time that we see the first applications of Shimmer in Zaun. Experiments are being done on animals, and quickly on humans too. Silco plans to use Shimmer to build an army that can match the enforcers. His plan is delayed by the explosion in his warehouse, but we already know that Silco is willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means waiting a little longer. As a substance, Shimmer is extremely addictive, it creates permanent changes in the body, and causes terrible withdrawal symptoms. Silco used that to build an empire, and we get a glimpse of the price Zaun paid after the time skip, when Vi and Caitlyn entered the Undercity. Generally speaking, the time skip was a brilliant display of good world building. It's not just the technology that got better, many aspects of the setting have changed significantly. Even visually, we see increased use of neon in Zaun and countless airships that fill Piltover's sky. The hex crystals were used to create hex gates, which allow ships to teleport. This leap in technology solidifies Piltover's place as a global center of trade, but the research didn't stop there. Jace and Victor created a stable variation of the hex crystal, which could power portable tools for everyday use. And even though they are warned to give the technology more time, it doesn't take long before people start using it to make weapons. This eventually leads to the power hammer that Jace uses, and Fishbones, which is the super weapon that Jinx uses in the last scene of Season 1. I don't really think that Hextech is to blame for all this mess, because how otherwise would Piltover stand against the army of Shimmer abominations that Silco created, right? Without Hextech, Jace and Vi couldn't have pulled off the assault on Silco's Shimmer factory. This was a clear display of power, one that Silco could not ignore. I don't think Silco would even consider discussing terms for peace if he wasn't at least slightly threatened by the power of Hextech, but I digress. Overall, the show did an amazing job of showing the dark side of progress, and we see it even more clearly if we follow the story of Victor and the Hex Core. We learn exactly how dangerous and volatile the fusion of magic and technology is, and even though the result is shocking, so is the price. The world building of Arcane laid the foundation for the incredible storytelling that follows, and I can't wait for Season 2. If you enjoy world building yourself, I hope you check out some of my other videos because I can't stop talking about it. I'm also developing my own fictional world and releasing new content for it every month on Patreon. It's inspired by Dragon Age, Stormlight Archive, Avatar The Last Airbender, and now Arcane. Until the next time, friends, remember that you are awesome, keep being awesome, and I'll see you beyond the screen.